Hi, I'm Reverend Dr. Paul Gretz. Welcome to tonight's presentation of the Neville Reader, an exciting class presented by the Emerson Theological Institute at City of Light. Tonight we're coming to you from our campus at 3125 Presidential Parkway in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm delighted that you've joined us. I'm Reverend Dr. Paul Gretz, and tonight get ready as we dig into the Emerson class study all about the Neville Reader. Now, the Neville Reader is this exciting book put together a collection of writings and essays by Neville Goddard, a great New Thought writer, filled with exciting information that really ignites the power of our faith and teaches us how to use imagination. That power of imagination at work just brings about a powerful manifestation and enables us to just believe, see, and experience our highest and best. So as we prepare for tonight's class, I invite you to join me in just centering your hearts and your thoughts. You may have had a busy day like I did, lots of distractions, lots of things coming at us from different directions. And we just want to take this time to clear all of that out and just allow our minds to be open to receive all that the Spirit has for us. So we're going to reset our vibrational frequency. We're going to align ourselves with the peace, the quiet, the now, this moment. We're going to do that by taking 3 deep breaths. We're going to breathe in through our nose, hold for just a brief moment, and then release, pushing out. And as we do, we reset the very consciousness, the thought process. We reset our own awareness of the here and now, this very moment. So we invite you to join together in taking these deep breaths. Let's breathe. Breathe in and release. Deep breath in and release. Deep breath in and release. And in this moment of silence, set your intention. Whisper deep within your very thoughts, the intention and desires of your heart, of what you'd like to experience or see transpire in your life during this time that we share together. Let's set that intention now. And so it is. Well, it's just a delight to have you with us as we dig in tonight's class. We so appreciate each and every one of you being with us, and we hope that you have your note packet in front of you. If you've not received the notes for tonight's session, please reach out this week to me at revtpaul@aol.com. I'll make sure that the message is transferred to our registrar, Dr. David Carter, and he sends out the notes for our class sessions just before each class. So you can download them, enjoy reviewing them or studying them before the class, use them as tools to write additional notes on, and then, of course, use them for follow-up as well. This is class number 7, and it's on the chapter entitled Attitudes. Our memory recreates images of the past, good or bad, and brings them into the present. And when we use our imagination to re-image, we can create a new reality. We can visualize everything as we would like the situation or the person or thing to be, rather than to carry the burden of it in our memory. Nothing is real beyond the imaginative patterns that we make it. And often we make things more real than they are, making a mountain out of a molehill. Now, we've had numerous experiences, I'm sure, in your life where someone has come to you with something so small, but they've held it in mind and it just eating away, you might say, in their craw, and that saying, it just deep within them, it's just eating away at their life, and it becomes now a huge mountain and a great obstacle in their life to overcome. But nothing is real beyond these imaginative patterns of what we make it. So let's not make mountains out of molehills. So we look at our memory, and what we want to do is that memory sort of resembles a daydream. So why make it a daymare? Instead of a nightmare, make it a daymare. Man can forgive only if he treats in memory as he daydreams and shapes it into his heart's desire. Wow, Neville Goddard has given us a lot to tear apart tonight and really dig into to say, what does this really mean for us? You know, so often we're going to carry memories of past experiences, of hurts and wounds, things that people have said. We carry them in our thoughts and our minds, and then we allow our imagination to make them to be so much bigger. But tonight, what we want to do is set ourselves free from that imaginative work that's going in the wrong direction. And let's just begin to ignite the course of memory and moving it into the way of positive, setting us free from the burdens of past memories and revisioning or revisualizing these experiences and seeing them in new and different ways. I don't know about you, but I've gone through so many experiences in life where when I look back years later, I see them in a different perspective. And I begin to see them through eyes that have shed some light on it in a new direction or a new way of understanding what went on. I am then sort of revisualizing or revisioning what has happened and transpired, and I realize, wait a minute, maybe that which I thought to be the worst thing in my life now has become the best thing in my life. Maybe it was there for a specific reason. So we begin to revision things and release all the negative attachments to memories, to day-to-day experiences, and allow them to be set in motion as to be viewed in the highest and best for our lives. If you're following the news and the media, you may have seen a lot of disturbing things happening in our world. And then we stop and we think, maybe everything happens for a reason. Not maybe, it does. Everything happens for a reason. So maybe there's an exciting reason that we need to look for. Maybe we need to revision what we're experiencing, saying, maybe this is for our highest and best. Maybe it's bringing about something that's going to transpire in our life that's going to lead us into a new direction. So let's just engage that wonderful power of revisioning. For imagination creates reality, and by doing so, we can change our attitudes towards others and towards the experiences and the things that we are experiencing in our life. And everything possible to be believed is in imagination or an image of truth. So if you believe it, it is so. An imaginal act can become a fact. Let's just break that down a little bit, because what we want to do is we understand that we can change our attitude. Key thing, attitude. Toward others and towards experiences, towards things. And the work that we need to do is changing from this being maybe the worst case scenario to now allowing it to be our best case scenario, changing the attitude, changing how we think about it, and the emotional experiences, or the emotional energies, I should say, that we're attaching to it. Because an imaginal act can become a fact. So let's imagine it in a different perspective. Let's see it from its highest and best and its good. Now, there's an example from the book. Neville Goddard writes, a man was asked for money for a meal, but the man had issues with giving to those who ask. So feeling the money was not always used for the best purposes, well, he refused to give it to the man who was begging or asking for money. Now, later, he stopped and he revisioned the experience. He changed the outlook by looking at it differently and now seeing the beggar coming to him, but now having a job. And months later, he ran into that person and he found that that man had actually found a job and that he was so grateful to the one who had turned him down. It inspired him to get a job. So we find this revisioning of the experience brought about a new reality, brought about a change. Now, this may seem so simple to a lot of people, yet so difficult to others. What we hold in mind produces in kind. So what we want to do is hold in mind the highest and best. We may have experienced something. Let's revision it now in its highest and best and its pure form of good, and allow that revisioning power to take place, to unfold something within us that we begin to see and feel and change an attitude about everything that we've gone through. There's a passage in Acts chapter 3, verse 6. It says, I have no silver or gold, but what I have I give unto you. It's a story of the disciples encountering a beggar at the gate beautiful. And the beggar is asking of alms from the disciples. Yet they're saying, silver and gold I don't have, but what I can give you, I give you. And so they're giving this newfound peace. They're giving not material things, but that which they visualize and speak into existence. They speak healing and wholeness and wellness and good. The man gave the power of imagination. He gave this in the experience with this beggar, revising the experience, and he gave it through the power of faith, believing in an unwavering imagination. I want to tell you this. This is how our faith is at work within our life. It's a powerful energy. Faith is that which transforms so much in our world. For as we believe it to be so, it is so. So as we imagine it to be so, it becomes a reality within us. So let us offer in our world the power of seeing good things in one another, beautiful things for one another, great things unfolding within our life. Begin to hold that in imagination and live from it. Today I posted as my spiritual tip for the day, just simply be. Be. Stop wanting to be something and just be it. Stop wanting something and embrace it. Stop wanting to just accomplish some goal and set forth and do it. For as we go forth and act as if, it manifests within our life. So let's be. In imagination, let's be. Let's imagine our lives to be the way we want them to be. And let's live as if they are. And so when we move and live and operate in that way, great transformation takes place within our lives. Begin to just be. Be that which you desire to be. Stop wanting and be it. So to be it, let's begin by visualizing it, imagining it. And imagining a world that works for everyone, not just a few. Imagining the beauty of a world that works synchronistically, everything coming together so gorgeously, rather than always focusing on or thinking or creating an attitude about things being the worst case scenario. Let's now allow it to be the best case scenario. So I can't encourage you enough to utilize this great power of imagination in your day-to-day journey. For imagining with a new content transformed both the man who asked for the money and the man who gave. It transformed him through imagination. So the beggar was asking for money, and he was transformed. He was transformed by the man who thought it not best to give him money for fear that he was using it for the wrong purposes, but instead gave him the gift of imagining, gave him the gift of great faith, gave him the gift of saying, this I believe to be true for you. This I claim for you. I see you now employed. I see you now working and successful, finding an income that meets your needs. So there was transformation through the power of imaginative, visualizing faith. I want you to use that in your prayer life. Begin to pray for one another for the highest and best. Begin to pray and speak that which you see to be the highest and best for them. Begin to imagine great things and see them, speak them out now. The word of faith that says, this I believe for you. People coming to you who are challenged in these times of the COVID-19 and begin to speak a word for them. Speak a word that's transformational. Imagine for them the highest and best, that their life is now moving in great success. Inviting them to see the world from a different perspective, to revision. Now, nothing has existence for us through the memory we have of it. Therefore, we should remember it that it as not as it was, unless of course it was good or desirable, but remember it and desire it to be as you want it to be. Because imagining is opening the prison gates for those who are bound. I love it when we've been in imagination circles. I don't know if you've ever been in one, but I've had the privilege to gather with a group of 8 people, and in this circle we began to imagine for one another the highest and best and speak that. Speak it in an affirmative, as if they are words of prayer, words that are claiming good for one another. So go around the circle and someone would initially state something that was their desire. Everyone write that down. Then one by one, we'd go around the circle. And the person would imagine for the next person, and the next person imagine for the next person. And say, this I visualize for you. This I imagine for you. This I see unfolding. I speak now, this being your reality, that you are successful in achieving your goals, or that you're healed and whole. And I see now you moving well, and I see your body and having this wonderful sense of harmony, and all is good within it. I may see your success and see your prosperity, or I see you in great loving relationships. Whatever it may be that was their desire, they began to speak that which they imagined for the other person. The room then began to be so filled with the power of imaginative faith, speaking out words of faith, lifting up one another and elevating one another's spirit. It's a powerful exercise to be part of, because this exercise of a group imagining opened the prison gates of so many people who were bound, as they began to hear person after person after person speaking to them that which they saw in the power of faith, through eyes of faith, imagining and revisioning things, for helping them to revision things in their own life. When they left the circle, everyone said, wow, I see the possibilities. I see the answer. I am living as if, because it was such a transformational experience. So there is a difference between the will to resist an activity, as in saying, this will never happen to me, and the decision to change it. Big difference there. Because quite often we'll find people who are always speaking from the perspective of, this ain't going to work. This is not going to happen. It's not going to work that way. It'll never happen to me. And then there's those who've said, I have made the decision to change all of my negative thinking and to see now I am moving and operating in the realm of possibilities. To change an activity, well, we must act. To resist an activity, well, is reacting. One creates and the other perpetuates. So the other one creates and one keeps the problem going and sort of sustains it, keeps cycling. When you keep saying, oh, it's never going to happen, and I resist, you're reacting to some experience, to something. And how powerful it is instead when we simply act, not react, but we moved forward rather than reacting to something. Reaction always perpetuates and keeps the problem going and sustains it. Now, what if we changed our attitude about experiences, about people, and about things? Example, what if we changed or imagined greatness for our enemies, those people that we feel are obstacles in our life, or bringing hurt or pain, or bringing just numerous challenges to our journey? What if we took time to imagine their success, their healing, and their blessing? After all, hurting people hurt others. So let's imagine that the hurt is gone in their life. And let's use the power of revisioning and imagining to do some healing work within their journey and their life. So let's see them now in their highest and best. And in doing so, what happens is we open up the gateway of our heart to release an energy of love and compassion. And that which we're sending forth out of our life is going to come back to us in multiplied. And it's just going to come back to us in powerful ways. So we understand Luke chapter 6, verse 27. It says, love your enemies and do good to those who hate you. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Now, a lot of people say, oh, yes, I'll pray for them. I'll pray to see that their Life is experiencing punishment, or that the revenge or karma gets them, or whatever we may say. But let's begin to understand that this whole invitation from this passage is that of let's love. Let's love. All right, we have a question coming in, or a comment.
A comment from Susan Dexter.
Okay, Susan.
She said, to act is to move forward, and to react perpetuates.
To act is to move forward, and to react is to perpetuate. I love that. Great thing to hold on to, because we just want to keep moving forward in our spiritual journey and having that forward positive energy that's released in the attitude that we have about every experience. It will enable us to act versus to react. Negative energy is going to cause us to be in the reaction mode constantly, and we're going to keep sustaining these problems. Positive energy is enabling us to move forward in great strength, positive attitudes about everything. I don't know about you, but taking a day where you experience everything that you're going through, you turn it around to a positive and an affirmative expression. You know, you get up in the morning and you go to make coffee and you're all out of coffee. I forgot to get coffee in the store. And you turn it around to a great expression of saying, you know, Spirit is inviting me, or this opportunity is inviting me to find something different. Maybe I'm not meant to have caffeine right now. Let me find some other beverage or drink, and let me introduce something maybe more healthy. Or let me take this time out and I'm going to go to a coffee shop. Whatever, but turning it around to the positive rather than continually embracing the negative. We have another comment coming in.
Yes, from Holly Hill.
Holly Hill, great.
A revised view of the past can help rid ourselves of feelings or desiring revenge.
Right. Oh, very good one, Holly. Revising these feelings of the past, now to see them as our highest and best. I've shared this with many of classes, but I look back to my junior high years, and I can think of a gentleman named Chad Abernathy. He was in the class along with Richard Bunty, two seventh grade friends of mine, but they turned against me and they began to persecute me and use me as sort of the punching bag of the whole classroom. I felt extremely bullied by these people, and I just felt like, kind of withdrawing. So, and rather than going to lunch at the cafeteria and experiencing that bullying coming from these two, I would go to the library and I would spend my lunch hour time in the library reading. I was reading my Bible or studying for a class. I look back and I think, wow, what a great foundation I had of spiritual growth and development. And what a great opportunity for me to excel in classes by taking that time to study. Now I look back and I revision, and I want to say, thank you, Chad Abernathy. Thank you, Richard Bunty. Thank you for the wonderful gift that you gave me. You gave me the impetus to spend quality time and to develop my spiritual life as a young teenager, to spend that time in the library in a little cubicle where I would read my Bible and pray. I would use this as my time of meditation and devotion. I would maybe study for a class, all these kind of things. I am so grateful for those things. I revision them. I see them now as great opportunities. Rather than having attitudes of resentment, I celebrate them. I've looked for them on Facebook, and I wanted to say how much I appreciate them. I've been able to find them, but I just want them to know I appreciate those guys. Thank you for that experience during the seventh grade that molded and made me and shaped me, helping me to be the person I am today. You see, the power of revisioning, revising, changed the whole attitude about the experience, released any negativity about it. Now I look back with laughter and joy and celebration and great appreciation for that experience. So, what we want to do is just then pray in an affirmatively way for the highest and best for others. And to do so, we must imagine the desire is already achieved. So we want to imagine for those who may be seen as bullies or persecutors or enemies or whatever it may be, we want to see their highest and best. We want to pray for that. Now, I'm going to tell you this. Praying for your enemies is one of the best things that you can do for yourself, because what's going to happen is you're praying for their success and the healing of their wounds. It's hurting people that hurt others. So praying for the healing and the removal of whatever hurt they're going through is going to strengthen them and empower them, as they experience a healing, that healing then transforms a newfound awareness of the love of God within their life. They're transformed, and they may become your best friends or your greatest advocates. You know, the transformation is there and it's possible. And also, it's just this great work of just releasing negativity. Don't carry negativity with you at any time. Another comment coming in.
No, I have a question.
Okay, a question from David Carter.
So when you pray for your enemies, can your enemies also be your own error thinking?
Well, certainly our own error thinking is adversarial to us. We may think that as an enemy because we may think that which torments us. So we may want to pray certainly to release, to transform those thoughts from adversarial or error thinking to now transform those thoughts into my highest and best. Sometimes we have thoughts that just keep playing over in our mind, that keep repeating, that just say, you know, you're a failure, you're not good, you're not successful, you'll never amount to anything. And so you want to ask for healing around those thoughts, to change those thoughts. And as a comment.
And so as you put that out there, it circles back to you. And as you're praying for healing for your enemy, or however
Yes.
you conceive of them, you are also healing yourself.
Definitely, definitely. This is the beautiful work of our spirituality. It's so practical. It's so positive. When we understand the power of our faith, the power of our believing, the energy work that's going on within our spiritual life, it becomes the psychology of the soul and the great revelation of how we find and achieve our highest and best. So as we pray for others, we're actually putting out positive energy that comes back to us. We're putting out healing. We're praying for success. And as we see success for others, we see success coming then to ourselves, because that which we put out in the word does not return void. It goes forth with action and manifestation, and then it begins to manifest and ripple out into our world, and we become benefactors of that ripple effect. So that which you're radiating out, that's rippling out from you, I'm getting to the wonderful ripples coming my way, and that which radiating from me is rippling out in your way. And then as it ripples all around the world, it comes back full cycle. You know how they often say that the flutter of the butterfly wing flies, all that energy transfers all around the world because it ripples out, having never a place to stop. It just ripples out and vibrates, creating a vibrational frequency and energy. You may look at that as being something so small, but let me tell you this. The energy from your heart is powerful and great. The energy of love has a force that is so mighty and rippling out with great intention. Same with the energy of negativity, of hate and anger. So let's be careful which energy we're putting out, what attitude we may have, and how it radiates out from our life and ripples out, because it's coming back to us. So remember, we must always live from the desire as if it's already achieved. It is so. So when you're praying for someone, an enemy, or for your thoughts, as suggested here by Dr. David Carter, you want to pray and see already these thoughts are changed. My enemy is now my best friend, you might say. I now view them not as an adversary, but someone who is loved and cherished. And I see them being successful, and I see them having healed whatever it is that is the wound within their life that causes them to be so evil and filled with error thinking in their life. I want to see them healed. Whatever's going on emotionally in their life, whatever challenges they're having. You know, so many teenagers are struggling with self-acceptance. And so they feel peer pressure in their lives, and they sometimes think that the best thing is to speak out negatively to get attention because they're insecure about their own journey. They may act up. They may be extra sassy and rude to parents. They may be struggling with trying to find their own identity and their own independence. So when we stop and look and working with our children or teenagers, we may say, I'm really believing for the healing within their heart and their emotion. That healing may be for them to discover self-realization, full acceptance, loving themselves, coming into their own, helping them to just feel confident in who they are as a human being and as a developing teenager, and all the questions that they may have perfect peace as they unfold the beauty coming towards adulthood. So what we want to do is be compassionate, see them in their highest and best at all times. We're going to move on to the next chapter, which is entitled All Trivia. We must use our imagination to achieve particular ends, even if the ends are all trivia. Now, if we do not clearly define in imagination the end results and define them, the end results and leaving them, well, they can be uncertain then. So to imagine clearly, we must distinguish between what we want and what we don't want, to define it to the level of giving it form in mind. So again, we've often said what happens in vagueness stays in vagueness. So what we want to echo over and over again is the clarity. Do you know what you want? I find in working with so many people, they've not really taken time to define, what is it you really want? Well, I don't know. I haven't thought that deeply, a lot of people would say. I don't really have anything that I want. But let me tell you this, it's great and very powerful for us to have a desire in some level to expand and to grow. So you may say, well, I don't really need anything materialistically. And let me tell you this, desires don't always have to be materialistic. How about a desire to be more generous? How about a desire to be a blessing to others? How about a great desire to say, I want to be a radiating light, a beacon of love for the world. I have desires where I want to touch the world in new and fresh ways. Or I have desires that I might really be the essence of love, that people may experience it when I walk into the room. Let me be so clear that this is what I want versus what I don't want. And knowing very clearly, this is what I don't want, and this is what I do want. So what builds a house or plants a garden? It's the definite, the determined. You can't build something without knowing the details. I find a lot of people, will start off and say, hey, I want to create something, but you need to set out a plan and you need to know the details. You're going to build a house. What kind of house? 2-story, 1-story, ranch, or traditional? Is it going to be a large house, a small house? Will it have a garage? Will it have a large living room, family room, fireplace, small kitchen? What's it going to have? What are the details? So in the process of knowing what you want, you also sort out what you don't want. And in the process of knowing what you don't want, you sort out what you do want. So how important it is that you have the details of being a little more specific in the power of your imagination. So we've got to use this imagination to achieve these particular ends, these particular goals, even if the ends are all trivia, even if they're just, simple, whatever, doesn't really matter. Oh, yes. Let's make sure that our power of our imagination is clear and focused, knowing specifically what it is that we want versus what we don't want. We must consciously imagine, see things from the spiritual perspective and allow them to take form in the physical. This is faith at work. I'm going to tell you this. Your spiritual life is so dynamic and powerful. And quite often we have a lot of people who don't understand the power of that spiritual life, that we need to just really engage in visualization, imagining greater things for this world right here and now. Do we want a world that works for everyone and not just a few? Well, let's take some time. Let's imagine it. Let's visualize it. Let's speak of it. I think we've got another comment or question.
From Holly Hill. How does this fit with this or something better?
Great. Good question, Holly. Thank you for asking. How does this fit with this or something better? Again, what we're using when we're talking about being very specific about things is we're really working on specific attitudes and feelings, emotions. So knowing what you want needs to be broken down, not so much in the physical aspects, but broken down to the feelings that describe what you really, really want. Now, we've illustrated this many times, but I'll share again that sometimes you may say, a person says, oh, I want that person to be my husband. They're going to be my life mate. I'm going to claim that person. And then 6 months later, they're married and they're like, oh, I'm claiming I can get rid of this person. Because that person, I looked on the outside and I thought that's what I wanted, but I didn't realize that there were feelings that I really wanted. So rather than I'm wanting this beautiful woman or this very handsome man to be my life mate, what I really wanted was someone who cherished me, someone who loved me, someone who saw my highest and best, someone who saw me as an equal or as a partner. You see, those are all feelings that we need to be very clear upon. So let's express the feelings versus more so the shapes and forms. But shapes and forms can be symbols of a feeling. So what we want to do is, as we offer these feelings out in the world, and so lots of times we may create a vision board. In a vision board, we have a picture that we've cut out, and maybe you say, you're going to purchase a new house. And you're thinking, this is what I'd like to see my house look like. So I'm going to create some visions of it, and I'm going to symbolize. But what I see in each photograph is more of a feeling. I see the beauty of this house. And when I see this picture with this beautiful house, I think, oh, I feel a great sense of accomplishment, success, maybe prosperity. I look at the pictures of the interior of the house. I put on a vision board, and you may say to yourself, but I see a beautiful kitchen, but it evokes feelings of warmth and security and family gathering around and laughter. In this beautiful kitchen, I see lots of hospitality and great moments of sharing with friends. And so these are all feelings that you become very specific about. And so they capture visuals or pictures or photographs or examples that you're holding in mind can be symbols of the feelings you want, but let's focus really clearly that helps us describe even more so what we do want and clarity about what we don't want. So to say, Holly, you may say, I just want to fall in love with a 6'2", dark-haired, bearded man. And okay, so what's the feeling? But what does he evoke? And in your vision, you may say, but he evokes for me someone who is tender, loving, companion who sees my highest and best. We work together. He symbolizes this sense of building a life together, common goals, shared vision. He's loving and passionate and caring and romantic or whatever. So that symbol just then is a symbol of the feelings that really bring clarity to that which you truly want. Now, if this or something better, when we're evoking those feelings, we can say, this is a symbol of it. Now, the something better may look a little differently. Something better may look differently than the picture of this house. But this picture evokes the feelings. And when the divine provides for you the something better, it may all be there or it may not. It may be that what you've already chosen is the best. But sometimes there's a something better. You will go, I look at that vision board and I'm seeing, all the feelings that these pictures created, I have. And has been given to me in the something better. Something better. I experienced this personally, of course, in the purchasing of my home. I looked for houses that would work for Robert and I as we began to look to relocate several years ago closer to City of Light. We looked at all kinds of houses. Well, many of them were great. And they sort of fit our descriptions, but they weren't quite there. We began to visualize the feelings, and we finally found a Tudor home in a subdivision, and we were ready to put an offer on it. Something wasn't just quite right, but we felt maybe it's going to work out. It'll be just that. We began to visualize ourselves in the house, feeling the hospitality, feeling all these things, and we said to the real estate agent, we're ready to put an offer. He said, why don't you sleep on it? So we took the advice, We slept on it. The next morning, we called, said we're ready to put the offer in. And he said, oh, I'm sorry. Someone put an offer in last night that's been accepted. The house is already sold. So we said, wow. Well, lo and behold, it wasn't just but a few more days, and we found us something better. It was, again, another tutor. Very similar in many ways, but so much better. Better location. It was situated on the lot, even better, a larger lot, more level lot. House was even larger square footage. There were just so many things, and it was cheaper. Something better. So we look at all these things, and we are just looking back and saying, thank you. But the feelings that we had about what we were claiming in our life were there as we walked in to see this house that we now own. We walked in and said, it's exactly like what we're visualizing. The feelings that we wanted. A home that we could open up the doors to and share hospitality, that we could welcome others, bedrooms that we could have guests and entertain, rooms where we could just relax, where I could read in different places and study, places where we could just feel comfortable, just kick back and relax. And on goes the list of the things that evoked feelings. Well, Spirit knew exactly what we needed. Now we go back every so often and we drive back to that previous home that we were just so ready to put an offer on. And we've gone back now. It's been 3 years, looked at it several times and go, thank you, God. Thank you, God, for the something better. I'm so glad that the divine universe knew exactly what we needed and caused that real estate agent to say, why don't we sleep on it and put the offer in the next day? That must have been truly a divine inspiration in his mind, because we're so grateful we didn't purchase that home. We look at the lots next door. We see how they've declined. We looked at how there's been erosion on the property and the land, water washing away some of the backyard. And we look, we are so grateful. Well, this is just great gratitude. That was not the right house for us. There was the something better. So what we want to do is make sure we're clear around the feelings that define exactly what we want, capture some visuals that say this or something better, but the something better is going to be evoked around the feeling you have about that which you desire. The feeling really shapes the visual for us. So we're now thinking, and you'll know the right and perfect thing when your feelings resonate with that which you put out and the vibes that you're getting, like when we walked into our house, we just, what happened for us, we pulled up, just parked outside. First of all, I looked at this house and I saw it on Zillow and I looked for the aerial view. And to me, it looked like it was, it's out in the country. It looks like it's on a gravel road, from the picture, and it's in the woods, and oh my Lord. And, I looked at the picture of the house and it looked from the photograph like it was painted lime green. A tutor painted lime green. Like, who would do that? I don't know, Robert, but we really want to go see this, so let's go look at it. But when we pulled up, it wasn't a gravel road. It was a blacktop road that just looked a little lighter in color in the photograph. It was a beautifully wooded lot, but it was in a gorgeous subdivision. And when we pulled up, the feeling was there. Robert said, this is our house. And we hadn't even gone in. But he got the feeling from the house. It's like the house was speaking to us, welcome home. The house was saying, yes, so glad you found me, and we were saying, yes, so glad we found you. And there's this beautiful energy match, you might say. When we walked in, well, all the great feelings become to fall synchronistically as we looked at the kitchen and said, hospitality. We looked at the family room and said, look at this, and everything just falling together in a beautiful way. The feelings, the energy just were in perfect alignment, knowing what we wanted specifically. So let's do this work and let's just make sure that we've got some specific plans. Let's put our heart into it. We must imagine ourselves right into the feeling of our wish fulfilled. Imagine yourself, see yourself right into it. We're not there, for we are all imagination, and we must be where and what we are in imagination. So we are not there, for we're all in imagination, and we must be where and what we are in imagination. Let's talk that out, work that through, what the author is trying to work through, as we kind of pull through, we've got to imagine ourselves in this place. For we're all in this state of imagination. And we've got to imagine at all times where and what we want to be. So as we're imagining it, then, as I said earlier, be. Just be it. Be that which you've imagined. Don't want it. Don't wait for it. But just say, I am. I am. I went to a writer's workshop. And, I'm thinking, okay, I'm kind of interested in writing. And so the first thing, we sat into the room and the guy says, welcome authors. Wait a minute, we're authors? Who's an author here? No one here is an author. We're all come to learn how to write a book. Welcome authors. And he said the first thing you need to say as we begin this session is, I am an author. Whoa, wow, okay. Let's stop dreaming. Let's stop imagining. Let's start believing. I am an author. Well, as we began to work through that whole imagination and visualization of us being an author, and began to visualize our books already completed or our works already completed. As we began to do that, we found this newfound comfort. We began to live from the place of being an author. And then that helped us to work out, how do you set an outline? How do you begin to write? Because so many people will say, I've got something I want to write, but I don't even know where to begin. I need an opening sentence. I'm struggling with that first few lines. Well, as he began to say, you're already an author, he began to invite us to just do what an author does. Write. Just begin writing. Don't worry about that first eloquent statement, Don't say I'm waiting for this opening line, this magical phrase that's going to make this book a bestseller. Just start writing down your thoughts, and then from there you can do the organizational work and you can move on. And don't be concerned about clean and clear sentences. Just start writing. Well, it's been a key for me in writing Sunday talks or sermons. I just may sit down at a computer and just start writing. And quite often, they're not even complete sentences, but I'm just tossing out thoughts. And before you know it, I've got 4 or 5 pages of all these thoughts and ideas, and I begin to work through them. And it's then that you go back and reorganize and outline. But you're writing from the perspective of saying, I am a writer, and I write. I am an author, and I have authored. So when you do and live from that perspective, suddenly everything comes with great ease for you. So the author then gives the illustration of a couple buying a home and wanting to decorate it. And that what they dreamed of was a painting of a clipper ship out on the sea. And that this would be just perfect for their living room. And they needed so many things. And this painting was just a lower priority, but definitely a dream. One day, the wife went to a gallery and she discovered her dream painting. The gallery owner said, well, if you are lucky, you could get a print of this painting. Unable to afford anything, well, what she did was she began to imagine the painting hanging on her living room wall, seeing it, and actually sort of decorating around everything as if there's going to be a painting right there. So let's put this over here and that. No, don't put it, because there's going to be a painting right there. Well, one day her husband met with a client. And the client could not pay the full amount for the fees of his services. And the client noticed that her husband had been really eyeing this painting on the wall. He was eyeing a painting of a clipper ship out on the sea. And the client said, I really don't have all the funds to pay you, but can I give you the painting as part of payment? And I will do my best to pay the rest. Well, the husband took it. And he came home and surprised the wife and hung the painting in the living room. Just so happened, it was that which she had imagined. It was that gallery painting, a print of it. And now it was there in her home. So how beautiful this illustration is, and the power of imagining, claiming, by the power of our faith in our lives. Isaiah 55:1 shares this. Come buy wine and milk without money and without price. Come, buy wine and milk without money, and without price? How do we achieve these things in life? So many things come to us through the power of great faith and believing. Jesus was confronted by 5,000 hungry men, not counting women and children, on the hillside. He had been teaching them. Disciples come to Jesus and say, Jesus, it's getting late in the evening. Send these people away so that they can go and find their own food because, people are getting hungry and we have to feed them, or they need to go to find their food. Well, Jesus said, what do we have? Now, Jesus didn't say, okay, let's go out and buy wine and milk. Let's find all the money we can find and see if we got enough. Let's collect an offering so we can go out and order pizza for all this, everybody. Nah, that's not what Jesus was saying. He said, let's work with what we have. What do we have? 5 loaves and a few fishes. Oh, okay. So with the power of great faith, imagining, he took the bread, broke it and blessed it, gave thanks, and in this beautiful example began to share. And the end result was everyone was fed. Come buy wine and milk without money. So many things can happen within our world and unfold for us. We're often holding back because we think, well, I can't afford it. I don't have any money. It's not possible. Let me tell you, in ministry, so many times that's what's confronting us as pastor or as in the board. We'll be saying, it would be great to expand the ministry in this direction, but we don't have the funds. And we are always limiting ourselves to say, we don't have, or to say, we don't have right now the funds. So what we want to do is just release that consciousness and those limiting thoughts and say, instead, I am now going to purchase in the power of faith, and know that through faith, all things are possible and God will make a way when there seems to be no way. So with that, we find here also in the scripture, ho, everyone that is thirsty, come ye to the waters. And he that hath no money, come ye, buy and eat. Yea, come buy wine and milk without money and without price. Wherefore do you spend money for that which is not bread, and your labor for that which satisfieth not? Hearken diligently unto me, and eat ye that which is good, and let your soul delight itself in fatness. Whew, Isaiah has really gone on with this beautiful passage, describing for us a journey of faith. Anyone who is thirsty, so anyone who is desiring something more, come to the waters. Come to this consciousness is what it's saying. Come to this place of aha and of knowing, this wonderful understanding. You've been invited. Come to the waters if you're in desiring something. To those who have no money, what? Forget that. Don't worry. Don't sweat it. Buy, eat. So it's suggesting move out in faith. Begin to claim and live as if. Go forth and say, I'm going forth to buy wine and milk without money and without price. Because I know through faith, that which I imagine to be true is true for me. And I begin to claim. I begin to welcome this. I love this story. I got to share it over and over again because it's a beautiful story that exemplifies this. There was a priest who stood in line at a train station to purchase a ticket. He wanted to travel to another destination. And as he was standing in line, it was a hot, sunny day. And he thought about that ticket and the wonderful journey and the great travels, so excited about what was going to unfold for him. A young man came up and said, to the priest, I'm so sorry you're standing in this hot sun in this long line. Please go be seated and I will get your ticket for you. So the young man stood in line, purchased the ticket, then came back with the ticket in hand over to the priest and said to the priest, here's your ticket. The price is, $29. And the priest said, well, I'm sorry, I don't have $29. The young man said, well, what were you doing in line? He said, I was standing in line believing I'm going to have a ticket. And now I have a ticket. I began to believe, imagine it was so, and I began to act as if. And as I did, I now have the ticket. And it's accomplished. And the young man said, well, wait a minute, what am I going to do? I just paid for your ticket. The priest said, well, get in line. Get in line. Begin to step up. Begin to visualize. Begin to imagine. Here's that beautiful example of not having any money, but having immense faith. Specific, knowing exactly what it was the desire of his heart, and living as if. Can you imagine what it'd be like if each and every one of us did this? If we began to live with the power of imagination and great faith, begin to utilize it to its fullest extent, and begin to dream some great dreams and live from the desires of our heart. Stop letting money be your limitation. Stop letting money be your barrier. Stop letting let money be a mountain that you somehow can't overcome. Because the how these desires of your heart are going to unfold is totally up to God, totally up to the universe. The invitation is for you to come if you are desiring, if you are thirsty, to come to the waters. Come to this consciousness. Come to this way of thinking. Come to this awareness that says, all that the Father has is mine. All that is of God is mine. God will make a way when there seems to be no way. And in this kind of faith and believing, we step out and we become, just like all the wonderful stories within the Bible, they become living stories within us, where we walk by faith each and every day and see the miraculous unfold. Now, we need nothing to be able to obtain God's richest blessings. We only need to come to these waters of thought, come to the waters of imagination, seek and imagine, and it will be so. So thank you for joining us for this class tonight. It's been a powerful evening of unfolding more of an understanding of imagination through Neville Goddard's writings. As an author, he has brought to us some great insights and leading us and guiding us, and I want to say reinforcing over and over again. So many of his essays and writings are slightly repetitive on purpose, that we might constantly get this hitting home in our thoughts and understanding. This power of imagination is something to be utilized every single day of our life. It's going to transform us and the world around us. So let's begin to dream some dreams and imagine together. Now, as we close out our class, we'd like to ask, what's your takeaway? What's been speaking to you? What's really touched your heart tonight? What's sort of like is going to be this wonderful aha that you're going to put into your little Tupperware container and take home with you, or put in the refrigerator and then take out, kind of gnaw on later on, saying, oh, those leftovers, oh, that thought was so good. Let me just let it stew in mind. Let me just let it cycle through a couple more times in my thought process because it's this great aha or this awakening that I had. So I invite you to share that with us. If you would be so kind, for those of you in our live streaming audience, to take a moment to write out, just type in what's your takeaway from tonight's session. We greatly appreciate that. Thank you. And for those of you who have joined us in our class setting, love to hear from you. Speak up good and loud as you share, because I think the mic's going to pick up your conversation, or step up and come behind this camera, and the mirror, the mic will pick up your voice. Let's just go around. Anne, let's start with you. What's your takeaway from tonight?
You know, I still have the difficulty going through a magazine and finding a picture that evokes the feeling that I want. But I think the reason is because I'm focusing too much on a problem and not and so what I don't want instead of what I want.
Right.
And how can I get what I want if I don't know what it is? And you know what? It's free. It's total, doesn't cost any money to have a feeling or to be powerful or any of those things.
Right.
And you know, I feel right now like I'm standing in front of this big brick wall, and I just realized that I've got to carry a hammer with me. Knock it down.
Love that.
That's all.
Carry a hammer and knock that wall down. Amen. Because you are amazing. woman of intellect and awareness and awakening, and you're on your road to being Dr. Ann, and I'm so proud of you. Just knock that wall down, because you can do it. A couple of swings with the hammer and it's going to fall, because you know the answer's already there within you.
Yeah, it is.
Amen. Good, good. Steve Guillen, come and share. What's your takeaway from tonight?
That healing has to really have that component of getting rid of all resentment. To love your enemies.
Yes.
And I use the enemies loosely. It could be somebody that, just irritates you, to somebody that
right.
you want to see dead because of whatever they did to you. But in that whole spectrum, you have to get rid of all of it. You have to get rid of all the resentment if you want to see any kind of healing in your life. Not just your health, but maybe your wealth, your home, your relationships, any area of your life. If you hold any kind of resentment, it's a stumbling block.
It is. It's an energy block. It really is. Resentment, anger, all of this stuff is kind of an energy block that hinders the divine flow of harmony and goodness that wants to radiate from your life. And what happens then is that energy manifests in some sort of dysfunction, disharmony in the physical realm of the body. So just cleansing, releasing, letting go, doing the work of, I am sorry, please forgive me, I am so thankful, I am grateful, all these wonderful Ho'oponopono phrases that are great in healing. I love you, just getting that through as we look at all kinds of experiences, things, people, and just let that healing work just release that bound energy within you to allow for healing to flow within our lives. Let's go to Dr. David Carter. What's your takeaway from tonight's class?
Stop wanting and be it.
Stop wanting and be it. That's right. Stop wanting and being, and don't let money be your obstacle. Honestly. That's how crazy, because money is just a form of energy that allows us to purchase things. Well, God is the God of infinite energy. So just allow the universe to open up the doors for you and to provide for you. We have others offering comments from our listening audience.
Holly Hill, never underestimate the power of your own imagination.
Holly Hill, never underestimate the power of your own imagination.
It's all the how that you need.
It's all the how that you need. Wonderful. Excellent. Great takeaway. Just keep imagining. And you know what? That becomes all the how you need. You don't need to know. Oh, just see it done. See it done. It's finished. That's what you desire. And live from it. Another comment.
Yeah, Ty Thornton.
Ty, good to have you with us tonight.
Change your attitude. You change the outlook.
Change your attitude. Change the outlook.
I will now act as if, and it will manifest.
I will act as if, and it will manifest. Excellent takeaways. Love those. It's great. Those are great things that just kind of resonate within our soul. I appreciate so much those comments and insights. I hope that you enjoyed tonight's class from the Neville Reader. This is class number 7, and we're continuing on in this journey. We'll be going on into class number 8, and then into the second series of 8 weeks for this Tuesday night gathering. So if you're joining us on Tuesday night, we're going to continue. Next week, we'll conclude an 8-week series, but then the following week, we begin another 8-week series in the Neville Reader, taking us into some more depths of understanding as we look at new essays and new chapters, all by the writer Neville Goddard. And we're going to look forward to more and more of the insight that he wants to offer us, to awaken us to our highest and best. I'm so glad you joined us. Now, if you love this class and you appreciate the teaching and you found it to be beneficial for your life, I encourage you to share in a spirit of generosity a gift for this class session. You can go to our website at www.cityoflightatlanta.com. Share whatever you can. Go on that donate button and certainly, offer that $5, $10, $20, or $10,000 check, whatever. Hey, think big. Go ahead and offer it, because it goes entirely towards the work of Emerson Theological Institute here at City of Light. It's reaching out to so many to offer insight and education, enlightenment and awareness to our world. You're giving to a great cause when you do. Thank you so much. I appreciate your gifts. And again, I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you, whether you join us Thursday morning at 10 a.m. for a class continuing. It's the advanced class on the Neville Reader, or whether you join us Sunday morning at 11 o'clock for our celebration service coming to you from City of Light, or again next week, Tuesday night at 7 p.m. I'll look forward to sharing new insights with you, and can't wait for us to meet once again and share the goodness of God. I know something great is happening in your life this week. I'm claiming it. I'm knowing. I already see it happening in you. And I speak this word that the blessing of God is unfolding mightily within your life. God bless you. I'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us here at Emerson Institute at City of Light.